Everyday people working 9 to 5, saving up that money, trying to survive, investing in the future, trying to be wise, through loving money hero. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nik Johnson, host of Everyday Money Heroes, and I've reached early retirement. I'm here to provide information on how to obtain financial independence and inspire you through sharing stories of everyday people who are turning knowledge into freedom.
That hustle, always reaching for the sky. We wanna be money heroes, never gonna shy.
Hello and welcome to Everyday Money Heroes. We provide information and inspiration to people of all ages to take control of their financial journey. I'm your host, Nik Johnson, and today we will be talking about what to do when you are faced with a job loss and also the importance of financial independence when you're faced with that situation. First of all, I'd like to share this video or this episode because the current things that are going on in regards to federal employees. Traditionally, in years past, federal jobs were a job that did not necessarily pay a whole lot of money, but it came a certain level of stability. And you knew that if you put in the needed number of years, you knew that you would have a pension at the end. So it was very attractive to many individuals to look for federal employment, stay there their entire careers, and then have the benefit of the stability of that job and to have a pension. But right now, we do understand that there are massive cuts taking place when it comes to federal workers. And so it really made me want to discuss what to do when you're faced with a job loss. I know for myself, I started off my career as a soldier in the Army. And so I really wasn't faced with that type of situation. So once I graduated high school, I went into the Army. And as long as I was willing to, re-enlist, I always had a job. So that really wasn't a concern for me. I honestly didn't face that situation until I got out of the Army and I got my, a corporate job. And what happened is that I heard these people talking about RIFs. I'm like, what's a RIF? I don't know what a RIF is. And I learned that a RIF was a reduction in force. And so when I first heard that, I realized that I felt kind of powerless in that situation. I was like, okay, I did not like the anxiety that came from that. There was also a little bit of fear as far as, hey, I heard that these RIFs or layoffs were coming, and I was really dependent on that job to support my way of living. And so I remember after facing that first RIF, I said, you know what? I want to be in a better situation where if it just so happens that my employer decides to have a wave of layoffs, that I'm in a better situation than I am right now. So what happened is I continued on over the years. I think I probably faced 5 kind of waves of like layoffs over my career. But every time there was a kind of a reduction in force or kind of a wave of layoffs, every year I felt a little bit better because I'm like, you know what? I have less debt. I have more money saved up. I have more investments. And so it really got to the point where like the back end of my career, I was kind of indifferent. I was like, okay, I'm good. My wife and I, we've made the necessary sacrifices to be in a really good place. So if they see fit to let me go, I understand. But I no longer had that fear. So I was really proud of it. We had saved up, as I said before, we had started, we had us a small rental portfolio, which, gave us monthly income. So we knew we were good there. And so a lot of things had really came into place. So that financial independence really helped us. But what do you say? Okay, no, that's good for you. But right now I'm in a situation where, the rumor mill is going and I need the ability to still be able to provide. So what can I do right now, today? I don't have financial independence and I might be a federal worker or in any job where I'm hearing that, you know what, we might be in a situation where there'll be layoffs. Okay, so I'm going to provide a few things here for you. First thing I would suggest is providing additional value. What do I mean by that? At every job, there are some things that get, high priority, and then it's just like kind of everything else. And those things kind of get put in the backlog. For instance, I was a computer programmer for most of my career. And so I knew that we had like these high priority things that we had to do. And then we had this thing that we would call technical debt. Well, we just kind of sometimes kind of put in the backlog and say we'll get around to it when we can get around to it. When you have things like that are kind of like put on the back burner, provide additional value by saying, hey, you know what, leader, as time permits. And the reason why I say kind of quantify it by saying as time permits, because we don't want to make it seem like you got like all this extra time. But just say, hey, you know what? I've been looking. I see that we have, this situation or this task that, no one's been able to get around to. So I'm going to just see, I can go ahead and get through what I got. I'm going to just really put my nose to the grindstone, and I'm going to see if I can go over there and do that stuff. But make sure, don't do this in silence. Make sure that they know that, hey, you know what? Jack, Jane, Tanika, Tyrone is over there really trying to make a difference in providing additional value to the team. So as they go through, because I've been a people leader before, and I've had to, go through who I've got on the team, and literally I've gotten that tap on the shoulder saying, hey, you know what? I need one. And literally when they say I need one, that means that, okay, you got to make a tough decision. And so when they have to make that decision, when they get to your name, you want to be like, hey, you know what? This person is doing their job, and they're also, working to provide additional value. So give them pause when they get to your name. Say, hey, you know what? Let's see if we can skip over this one. All right. So one thing we want to do is provide additional value. All right. Second thing I would suggest you do is review your network, and let them know that you're looking. So hey, go through there. You've had this career where there's people that you went to college with. You might be, local groups with them or anything. Go to your network and say, hey, you know what? I'm looking. Just want to know if you know of any opportunities in this field. Now, granted, it's really better to have already been kind of in contact with your network versus just kind of calling them when you need something. So I suggest, hey, even every now and then, even if it's once every, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, just shoot a text or an email to somebody that's in your network that you really would value staying in contact with. That person that'd be like, hey, you know what? That person is connected. They have opportunities, and I don't want to stay. I don't want to kind of break that relationship with them. So at least reach out to those folks. Reach out to those folks and make sure that it stays warm, because I'm pretty sure everyone feels a particular way when you haven't heard from somebody in a real long time, but they reach out to you because they need something. So you don't want to be that person. So keep that network warm. All right. Next thing I would suggest is expanding your network. Okay. There are opportunities, go to places like, meetup.com and Eventbrite. There's a lot of free kind of meetups there. Are you a CPA? Are you a computer developer? Are you a travel nurse? So there are places where like there are local meetups, or sometimes they're virtual, and go in there and start meeting people. Say, hey, you know what? My name's Nick, and just kind of get out there and just kind of get to know people, expand your network. So that's extremely beneficial. Expand your network and to keep that network warm. So we really want to make sure to do that. Also, what you want to do is upskill. Okay, what I mean by upskill. All right, you have your current set of abilities and skills. What we want to do is try to, what can take you to that next level? Is it some type of license, some type of certification? Okay. So the reason why I say license and certification is because those are quick things. Some people might say, hey, I want to go back to college and get a degree. I'm not saying that's bad, but that's not really fast. You might, if you already have your bachelor's degree, you might be able to go get your graduate degree or your master's degree in 18 months. But the thing is, if you would like to get a certification in a particular discipline in your field, it's a possibility that you already have the skill set. You just need to go take the test. So that would be quick. Or if you just need to go get the training, then take the exam, you might be looking at something, as quick as 3 to 6 months. So that will give you some additional skills that you can add to your resume. That will make you more marketable. Okay. And also, it's a possibility that some of some of those additional trainings, the current employer that you have may actually cover those. So it won't be any out of pocket for you. So definitely look at the employee benefits that you have, because there's many companies right now that will pay for you to go get an additional license or additional certification. And the great part about that is once you have it, they can't take it from you. So if you do find out that, hey, you know what, I've been impacted through a layoff or a RIF, I still have this very marketable license or certification that I can use to find my next job. And the final thing I'm going to share with you is that when you are facing a job loss, the best time to look for a job is when you got a job. So start looking now, go out there, start sending out resumes, start looking at some of those job boards, start applying for things, because some jobs now, there are multiple rounds of interviews. And so it's a possibility, especially if you're to the point where you've been in the job force for a while and you're looking for something in that C-suite or an executive role, in a whole lot of those. And so what you want to do is that you want to go ahead and start getting in that candidate pool now. Start those rounds of interviews. If you're looking at 2-3 rounds of interviews, if you're a technical person, sometimes, there's a soft skills test and a technical assessment. So it's a lot of things that go on there. So the thing is that if you feel as though, the rumor mill is going and there is some possible layoffs or rifts going on and you're facing losing your job, go ahead and get out there and start looking now. Because even if you start looking now and it does happen and it's a month before you actually are impacted, it allows you the opportunity to go ahead and you're 1 month already ahead of when that would happen. And typically, the little bonus thing I'll add in here, if you are faced, with losing your job through some type of layoff or reduction in force, there's typically some type of employee transition services that they offer. And so literally, they might do some things where they'll do some resume critiques as far as helping you build your resume. They might help you with job placement, whether it's a new role within the organization or something externally. So I know some people are upset and they're like, you know what, I don't want those services. Utilize those services. They're out there. You never know. They might just give you one nugget that you were not aware of that assists you in getting a new role within the organization or externally. So that's what I have for you today. Have you faced a job loss? Have you done any of these things? Please put them down in the comments section. If you have not subscribed yet, I would ask that you subscribe. Also, I'll ask if you find value here, please share it. If you have a friend, loved one who might be facing a job loss, please share this video with them. That's what I have for you today. I'm going to continue to share the value that financial independence provides in all situations. I would ask that you would once again like, share, subscribe. And as always, I'm going to ask you to trust the process. Have a great day.